Hey everyone! So that 2026 CBSE Class 10 Maths exam, it's starting to feel real, huh? Well, if it's on your mind, you're in exactly the right place. We're about to give you a major advantage. We're not just going to talk about studying hard, we're going to break down the 20 most crucial question types that really form the backbone of this exam.
Look, the pressure is real. There are so many chapters, so many formulas, it can feel overwhelming. But what if you could just focus your energy? Imagine having a roadmap that points you directly to the kind of questions that pop up again and again. Well, that's exactly the plan we're laying out for you today. So let's dive right in. Here's the deal. Mastering these 20 question types is absolutely the key to walking into that exam hall feeling confident. These aren't just random problems, They're based on actual exam trends and the chapters that carry the most weight. So let's get into it.
Okay, first up, algebra. And listen, this isn't just another chapter. It's kind of the foundation of your whole paper. Questions from this section almost always have a heavy weightage, so getting this stuff right is pretty much non-negotiable if you're aiming for a high score.
So what are we talking about here? Well, the practice set we're looking at really zooms in on three big things. First, finding the zeros of a quadratic polynomial, which you'll see in question 1. Then you've got to understand the nature of roots. That's question 2. And finally, solving pairs of linear equations, like in question 3. These are the absolute basics you have to nail.
Now, here's a real power move in algebra, understanding the discriminant. It's the key to question 2. I mean, just look at this formula. Before you even start solving the whole equation, this little piece of it tells you if the roots are going to be real and different, real and the same, or not real at all. In an exam, that is a massive time saver. Next up, geometry and proofs. This is one of those areas where so many students trip up and lose easy marks. And it's not usually on the super complex problems. It's the small, avoidable mistakes. So let's make sure that doesn't happen to you. And the practice that we're looking at really covers the whole spectrum here. We start with those foundational formulas, distance, section, and area that you see in questions 4, 5, and 7. Then it dives into circles with a really important proof in question 6 and a tangent calculation problem in question 18. Now, a proof like the one in question 6 can look kind of scary, right? But honestly, it's just a 4-step puzzle. The whole game is just to prove that two triangles are congruent. Once you've done that, well, the tangents have to be equal. It's best to think of it as a logical sequence, not just some random thing you have to memorize. All right, our third section, this is all about being a pattern detective. From finding the HCF of two numbers to understanding sequences, this part of the syllabus really tests your ability to see the underlying logic and just follow a clear procedure. This section really covers a lot of ground. We kick things off with Euclid's algorithm in question 8, which is just a foolproof way to find the HCF. Then, and get this, arithmetic progressions, they show up 3 different times in the practice set. That's a huge hint, right? And we finish with a total classic, proving a number like the square root of 5 is irrational. Okay, let's break down that algorithm from question 8. Yeah, it might look a little complicated on the surface, but it's really just a simple rinse and repeat process. You apply the rule, you swap the numbers, and you do it again. The second your remainder hits 0, boom, you've got your answer. It's a perfect example of how a clear procedure makes a tricky problem simple. And here it is, that famous proof from question 14, all broken down. The strategy is called proof by contradiction, and it's a really cool trick, actually. You basically pretend the opposite of what you want to prove is true. Then you just follow the logical steps until you hit a wall, a result that's totally impossible. Here, you prove A and B must share a factor, which breaks your starting rule. And that's how you know your original point had to be right all along. Okay, we're on the home stretch now with our final content section, Applied Maths. This is where you can seriously rack up the points. These questions are often about taking a formula and applying it directly to a situation, which makes them super high scoring if you've put in the practice. And look at the variety here. We've got straightforward probability, surface area questions for spheres and cylinders, some basic trigonometry, and even finding the median in statistics. The main takeaway for this whole section is just know your formulas and know how to apply them. I mean, seriously, look at question 11. Finding the probability of getting a tail, 1 head, 1 tail, 2 possible outcomes. So the answer is 1 out of 2. These are what we call free marks, and for a very good reason. You can't afford to leave these points on the table. Now, this is a fantastic example of understanding something, not just memorizing it.
Question 12 asks, what happens when you double a sphere's radius? So why does this happen? Well, it's all in the formula. See that little cubed symbol on the radius? That's the key. Doubling the radius doesn't double the volume. It multiplies it by 2 cubed, which is 8. Getting that relationship is crucial. Okay, so we've walked through the big ones: algebra, geometry, number theory, applied maths, the whole deal. Now, let's pull all of this together into one final actionable strategy to get you ready for that exam. I really want you to let this sink in. This idea is probably the most important thing to take away from our whole chat today. Success in maths isn't about luck. It's about recognizing the patterns in these 20 question types and practicing them so much that they become muscle memory. So, what's the game plan? Here it is, your final checklist. Get those formulas down until they're automatic. Learn to spot the patterns we've talked about. Absolutely secure those easy marks. Give some extra love to the high-scoring chapters like algebra. And for sure, the most important thing, consistency. Forget cramming. A little bit every day is going to win the race. And that's it. The only real question now is, what are you going to do first? Pick one of these question types, maybe an algebra problem, maybe that circle proof, or even a quick probability one, and just solve it. Right now. It's time to turn this knowledge into action. You've got this.